With update 37 coming to the Lord of the Rings Online, there is a new race called River Hobbits. And today I'm going to be previewing their new intro experience in the beta for update 37. Before we create our character, I do want to point out there still are some unfinished things. In particular, we will see racial traits, and then some of the icons and just background images they have are still going to be placeholders in this beta. Another thing you might notice if we actually go to the character creation screen is that all classes, of course except Beorning, are available, and in the final release we may not see all these classes such as Runekeeper, Captain. By the way, here are the racial traits on the bottom left, and I believe these are the same as, yes, they are the same as the Hobbit ones. So the first thing that I see, because this is my first real experience with the River Hobbits besides briefly previewing it when I was unable to make videos the past few weeks, the first thing that I've noticed is they actually resemble the race of man more than the regular Hobbits to me. I don't know if this is really intentional or just because I know Race of Man was a recent race to receive an avatar update, so it's more up to date, and of course River Hobbits are going to be brand new. So that could be one of the possibilities, but to me they just resemble Race of Man a lot more than Hobbits, and personally for me that makes them more appealing to play. I just don't generally like playing Hobbits. I don't necessarily dislike them, but I don't like playing them. And from what I could tell, it might also be true for the female characters as well. And if you watch my latest video, you've probably heard me describe the River Hobbits as looking basically like teenage humans, teenage Race of Man characters in LOTRO. But what I'm going to do is just create a new character, and we'll do one with a class that we can expect to actually be in game, and I think Champion's a pretty simple one to start here. And I'm not going to go into all the details with the different sliders they have, perhaps besides body type. Maybe we can look at the different presets for options they have, and you see they have a lot of the, I think they might even be the exact same hairstyles they have for the Race of Man characters that were recently updated. Perhaps it was almost like a 2-for-1 update from Standing Stone Games viewpoint, in that they added new hairstyles for Race of Man, and they also happen to be available for River Hobbits. I of course don't know if that is the case, and I'm not honestly familiar with every Race of Man hairstyle and all the different body types that they have here that we can go through, but I suspect that that might actually be the case. Okay, I realize I'm bouncing around a lot, but let's go ahead and dive into more details with the customization options for this character. First off, we are going to be from Mist Hollow. That's the only one you can be from. In Mist Hollow, of course, Wells of Langflood, Lindolby area in game. That is going to be north of Vales of Anduin and situated south of Gundabad along the Anduin River. Now, it does say that they seldom travel outside of their secret vales. I believe that's somewhat close to what we see with the regular hobbits in the Shire, but of course, for your character, you can be one of the rare ones that actually does want to go out on adventure. But to go ahead and finally actually get to customizing this character, you can see it has the same slider body type that Race of Man has now, and I actually find this is what I do with all my characters, but I find the relatively skinny one to actually be more appealing maybe than what you can make with the relatively stocky hobbits that we have now. So I will go ahead and go with that, and then let's see, for skin options we can just change the skin color. You have a wide variety of options. I'll go with something that somewhat resembles me real quick. And then I'm again not going to bother too much on dealing with the sliders here, but I will go ahead and just go through the different customizations options they have for this character. I actually really need to fix his hair. I'm not a big fan of that hair, so we will try to fix that and get a somewhat decent looking head, at least for me, to start here. Where is hair? Let's go ahead and skip to that one. Okay, I don't really need red hair, and I really don't need that hairstyle. It might be accurate for River Hobbits, and maybe a lot of River Hobbits have that, say, messier hairstyle, which is okay, but that is just not for me right now with my character. Also, I find this hairstyle to look very human-like as well. That's kind of interesting. It reminds me of, there's this character on the TV show called Leverage. I can't think of his name right now, but it really reminds me of him. Going through more options, this one also resembles one of the Race of Man hairstyles, I think. This one looks like my captain actually on Arkenstone might still have a hairstyle that looks a lot like this. Also, I see their ears are pointy. That's something I didn't really expect for the River Hobbits. I don't remember regular hobbits having pointy ears. But honestly, what do I know with them? Yeah, to me, this looks nothing like a hobbit. But again, these are River Hobbits. They're different. It's a good thing for me because I find this character at least to look a bit more appealing that I might actually play him. I don't know how far I'd get if I actually played a River Hobbit upon release, but I don't feel too bad about just trying to create a character here, which is good. We'll see with the eyebrows if there are any. Yeah, there are actually quite a few options. I recommend if you are interested in just looking at the customizations to go ahead and get Boar and look at them, because I'm probably not going to look through everything for just creating a character for this video. The focus is supposed to be on the intro. You have all the options for your nose there. The jaw looks like it's all going to be sliders. Mouth is, you actually do have a few different options to change your lips up a little bit. In the general mouth area, that is. Maybe we'll go with 6, I don't know. And then for lip color, you can get a little bit darker red, but it's kind of hard to see the changes there. I'm zoomed in as far as I can, so I'll just go with that one. Not the biggest fan of this character's face right now. That one could maybe use a little bit of a change, so I will go back to the head option and see if I could get a different head preset that meshes with me a little bit better. But again, you have a lot of sliders if you really want to take the time to customize your character, but let me look at these more. So I'm actually thinking that one of the things that bothered me originally about this character, it was his hair, actually, the one that I picked. And I don't know why, but whenever I play games, I tend to make characters with long hair. I really don't know exactly why, but I think that is what was actually bothering me with the character. So maybe I'll try a little bit of a different hairstyle. This one looks like a new one because you can see the strands of hair a little bit better. But again, some of these older ones where you can't see the individual strands of hair, I really do think those are just copied off Race of Man or perhaps other races in the game as well. So see, this hair, actually, I think I have a very similar hair, actually. I don't think it's the exact same, but I have a very similar hair for my Race of Man, the only Race of Man character that I actually have. Okay, so I decided I will go with an unusual move for me and go with this guy with the long hair and ponytail. That is definitely not something I would usually go with, but we're going on an adventure with our character today. And what better to name him than Ribbit? I don't know what people will shorten the River Hobbits to, but I would definitely suggest Ribbit. And then for our tutorial, again, what we have is the new one that is available in this round of beta with Shadow's Vangmore. Otherwise, you can, of course, go straight to Mossword with Before the Shadow. So I'm really curious what the intro experience is like with him. So let's find out. Also, this is a really neat character select screen that River Hobbits have. Each of the races have their own. I am very used to the High Elf one because I make so many High Elves, but this one's a lot more colorful, and I don't know, I really like this one. As much as I don't play Hobbits, they really pick good locations to live in, and you can never go wrong with Second Breakfast. Just go ahead and load my regular UI layout, and we are ready. We'll ignore my inventory, and we are ready to start. So we are indeed in Lindleby here. This is again in Wells of Langflood, the far west here, up the stream a little bit. So while I do plan to play this intro, I'm probably not going to pay too much attention to the story, or at least focus on reading the quest text for the purpose of this video so we can get the overall experience. Again, if you are interested in that, I don't want to spoil absolutely everything for you, but also I would recommend you go ahead and play the character, or maybe when the River Hobbits come out in update 37 is maybe when you can get a more full experience than what this video would provide. Also, wow, these shoes. I'm kind of curious, are River Hobbits supposed to wear shoes, or are they supposed to be like Hobbits where they don't wear shoes? I'm kind of curious. I see these two folk are not really wearing shoes. He has kind of like wrist straps for his feet, which is kind of odd, but that is what it is. Also, I'm taller than these NPCs. I don't know if that's intended. It could be. Are these females and I'm a male character? I don't know. Unfortunately, it is nighttime, but that is part of the story here as we're waiting for the sun to rise. But the starting outfit for this character actually looks pretty neat. I could see myself actually, if you can dye it pretty well, I could see myself wanting to use that on a different character. Although I don't really see many changes with the dye, and I suspect red would change it quite a bit. Again, that could be something that's just not ready in the beta. But yeah, they have some pretty neat outfits here that I actually do kind of like. Oh, we have to talk to people. I'm just sitting here waiting. We have people to talk to. I'll give a Tuka. That's really making me feel like my name, Ribbit, doesn't quite fit in with these other River Hobbits, but you know, sometimes people have unique names, and hopefully that's true with River Hobbits too. Moving down, we have Odger, Tuka. I guess these are all a family. So we need to go to the southwest to look for Croaker. I don't know. Oh, this seems like the area I need to go if there are goblins here, and we expect there to be an eagle. It's an eagle on the map, but maybe it's not actually an eagle we're looking for. Well, what better time than now to organize my abilities? I also don't know, because these characters I believe will start in Mossword. I assume that this intro will only get you about level 2 as the Before the Shadow intro would, so I don't expect this to be too terribly long. Ah, here is the eagle. It is Fangland. I don't actually recognize that eagle name. I don't know if I'm supposed to, though. Apparently these are my friends and family, so that's good to know. This character starts off with people. Also, you can see it's actually light out and we can see things a little bit better and in more detail. We have to talk to the eagle, but can see my character as well as these NPCs. It looks like their, of course, texture qualities are a little bit lower, but I'm just trying to compare them to my own character and they all look smaller. I feel like a ginormous River Hobbit next to them. All right, so we're going to talk to Grandmother Maddie. That is going to be the one with the fancy dress here, and then I need to wave, and then I'm going to, okay, begin my grand adventure. So the story does actually set you up, it seems, for your character to be leaving and going on grand adventure. It's kind of sad, and I don't know why Valeric just sort of passed out and fell over there. That's kind of concerning, but yeah, it's you know, it's exciting to go on journey, but it's also sad to leave everybody behind. Where are we gonna be? I'm guessing Mossward. Right here. Oh, we have Uruk-hai Raiders. Your journey demands that you help folk who need it. Well, I don't think this Uruk-hai Raider needs help, does he? Wow, my weapons are bad. Do I have any other weapons? I do not. Okay. I'm not used to a character being this weak at the start. This is kind of crazy. It could also be partially because of the stat squish. I haven't played around with that basically at all. I have secondhand experience watching somebody play a character in the beta, but I have not actually played any combat in it up to this point. Very excited to check out the other class changes eventually with the Beorning and Guardian revamp and a little bit lore master update we'll get to, but that is for another time. For now, we are going to be a friend to Meneldir. Okay, so we do actually finish this pretty quick. They have you fight one character, you know, you get a little bit of combat experience, then you're thrown into the open world of LOTRO right here at Mossward, as you would be if you did the Before the Shadow intro, but it's just a little bit different, and you get to see Lindleby, so that's pretty neat. And right here, you do get to start the prologue with Chapter 1, so I actually really like that was a short intro. I love the short and sweet experience, and honestly, this character's not too bad. There would be some getting used to playing a small character like this, but at least they're different enough from hobbits where I actually feel like I could enjoy playing a River Hobbit in comparison to, say, a normal Shire folk hobbit, which I don't know, I just struggle trying to even think about playing them. Also, I'm not sure if this is a unique interaction for hobbits or only river hobbits here, but this is a hobbit's home from home, and it gives you, it looks like actually a racial trait, so I don't know if this is what it will look like in the final form here. You can also get the Creek Hopper title, it looks like, from the Friddle and Took. I don't remember this quest from other characters because I've always played High Elves through here, so that could be why I don't recognize it, and it's a Hobbit and maybe now River Hobbit thing. Either way, I think he has a great point. Luberbit is really a curious name for a Hobbit. Okay, so one more bit of news to wrap up this video, and that is with the Before the Shadow content. You see that my character was thrown out into Mossward. Well, what if you don't actually have Before the Shadow? You buy your River Hobbit, and then they're thrown into Mossward, and you can't actually play through that. Well, good news is if you have access to River Hobbit, basically in any form it looks like, you will be able to have access to quests and deeds in Swanfleet, which includes the Before the Shadow prologue, book 1, book 2, book 3, and afterward. That said, this does not sound like it includes Cardolan, so if you're looking to play through the Cardolan portion of the Before the Shadow content, which is Swanfleet and Cardolan, you won't have access to the Cardolan portion, it sounds like. And I don't actually know how many chapters the Before the Shadow book series has. Maybe it just does have the 3 books and the afterward following the Before the Shadow prologue. So it seems like you would still need to buy Before the Shadow to get access to Cardolan content, but if you buy the River Hobbits, you will get access to Swanfleet at least. And Swanfleet, for people unfamiliar, is basically the intro zone of Before the Shadow. It gets you to about level 15, as you would get in Ear of the Wind, the Shire, and the intro portion of Breland, and sets you up for the basically what your other characters would have going through these other intro zones. So I have seen some community reactions to the River Hobbit, some positive, some negative. I know I have talked a lot about them looking like Race of Man, which for me to actually play them might not necessarily be a problem, but I know a lot of people have been looking forward to maybe them looking a little bit more like hobbits than perhaps the human characters, but I don't know. Let me know your thoughts if you like the way the River Hobbits look and what you thought of the intro. Again, I like that short and sweet intro style that they had there, and I thought it was fairly enjoyable for just creating a new character and getting them started in Middle-earth. And hey, they are still short enough that they can get totally lost in the grass here. And that is probably all I will have on the River Hobbit until they fully come out and I create one in the live patch for update 37. If you did enjoy this video and found it helpful, then please consider liking and subscribing for more, and thanks for watching everyone.